By simply closing the gate of a transistor, be it a MOSFET or a bipolar, turning it on and off, what we are simply doing, we are simply controlling the load at its drain point. We can also use these transistors to control things like this motor. And when the gate is closed, the motor turns on and moves in one direction. But turning the motor is too fast and even the camera can't get the direction. But the question is, how can we make this have two directions, which could be used as a remote control? Can one transistor do the job? Could it be we need two transistors? Or do you think it is possible? Feel free to let everyone know your answers on the comment section below. So, the answer here is yes, it is possible. And that's what we're going to be looking today in this video, using this MOSFET F4007, and which is good in switching. So, with that being said, let's hop in. When I close the gate of the transistor, it happens to make the motor go backward. And you can see this when I slow the video, going backward. Let's see what's gonna happen when we interchange the motor position. And then now, if you notice, the motor now has been changed. And now if you look at it, the motor it's moving forward. And if I should slow this up, you're going to notice that. So what next? Let's get building. I then placed my first MOSFET on the breadboard, and then with the second MOSFET too on the breadboard, and then with our switch 1, which is going to be controlling the first MOSFET, and also with the second controlling the second MOSFET. And next I then place a 1 kilo ohm resistor between the gate pin of the first transistor and one terminal of the open switch, and also did the same with the second transistor and its switch. If you're really observant and really following me up, you're going to really notice a little bit different between these resistors and the switch, that there's a distance between them. Why I did it is so that I can make my connection very easy. So don't worry. uh, there's no change in anything here. It's just I just have to give a distance between this resistor and the switch. I know already. You might be thinking, hey, what is this guy doing? Why is he placing that wire between the drain pin and to an empty column of the breadboard? What I'm really doing here is the interchange wires. This is what is going to do the interchanging of the wires when the switch is being pressed. Here doesn't really has any contact with any terminal in this point. It's just in an empty column. Maybe I should just really shift this resistor up so that you can see that better. I think that is now better, and you can see all the whole connections. There is no contact. And now I'm going to be doing the same thing with the second transistor, also hooking up to the drain pin and also to one of this column. Oh, I just remembered, you got lucky, because you might be thinking, oh, what type of transistor am I using? I'm going to let you know is an N-channel transistor, so get that. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be placing a jumper wire between the source and also another empty column. This is where I'm going to be connecting our negative supply, so to turn on the first transistor. So and now I'm going to be placing my DC motor. Okay, so the next thing you're going to be doing is placing one of the wires of the motor to this white wire or the white connector column, and then the second to the blue wire column, so they will have a contact with each other. Notice that each of these wire you're connecting them are all connected to each of the drain of this transistor. So anytime the remote is, or what am I saying? Not the remote. Yeah, it could be a remote. But anytime the button is being pressed, they're going to have contact with the collector. They're going to do the interchanging depending on which you're pressing. But wait, I said collector. Shit! Oh my goodness! Drain! The drain pin. But whatever. So let me view that on the camera again so that you can see the connections. You can see that already that they don't really have contact with this MOSFET. You can see them, they're in column with this blue wire. So that's the same thing that's been done on with the white wire there. Let me get this known to you before you even make the mistake. How you connect the motor between the drain and the supply voltage with a one or a single transistor is not simply how you're going to do it with a two direction switches. So what I did here, I just took a jumper wire and make sure they have contact with one of the terminals of the open switch with the 1K resistor, and also did the same here, so that neither the transistor's gate or drain will have any supply voltage when the transistor is in an open state. So the next thing I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be connecting the second terminal of the open switch to the positive terminal. So I'm going to be looping this with the first switch doing the same. This other point here on the breadboard needs to be looped so they could have connections or contact with each other. So finally, our circuit is done and we are going to be testing this. Then next, I plug in my 6-volt power supply, taking the positive to the switch and then its negative to the source pin of the transistor. And by closing the first switch, the motor should move forward. And then by closing the second switch, the motor should move backward. But wait a minute, nothing is going on. But what's wrong with the circuit? When I close the first, it's moving forward, but to reverse, nothing's happening. What might be the problem? Do you notice any mistakes in this circuit? Feel free to let us know your answers on the comment section below. If you look at this transistor, you will notice that its source pin is not connected, which is supposed to be connected to the first transistor. And that is what we are going to be doing now. So with that, we should make a link between the first source and the second source together. So now without being done, let's test this. And then when I close the first switch, it moves forward, and then the second switch reverses the motor. Wow, what a nice project. If you love this video, do not forget to share, like, comment, and also hit that subscribe button so that you won't miss other upcoming videos next week. You can always check out on our previous videos on screen now using the links below the description box. See you next time.